Were you born in Chicago, Montell?
Yeah, I was born in Chicago, June 6, 1970.
Uh-huh. And what was your home life like? Who was?
I mean, I had a great home life. My mother and father got along good. I had an older brother and older sister that lived with me. All I can remember basically was just going to the gym every day with my father.
Yeah.
And I just thought, you know what I'm saying, I had a great, great home life.
Okay. And what kind of neighborhood you come from?
It was a decent neighborhood. I mean, in Chicago, they got it's a neighborhood called the Wild Wild Hundreds. I lived on 101st and Low. Back in those days, in the 70s, I don't think it was that bad. I mean, I wasn't part by myself. I did a lot of things. I was like a middle class.
Mm-hmm. And you stayed.
I lived in a house.
Yeah.
Of course. I had a great father that raised me right, and I had great parents. You know what I'm saying, that just raised me right, taught me about life. And I was too embarrassed. My father died when I was 12. I was too embarrassed to embarrass his name. So, my whole motto when I was a kid was, if I could go to jail or die, I wasn't doing it. And, you know what I'm saying? I really didn't have no peer pressure. I really didn't have no guys trying to, do, bad things or whatever. I think all the guys in the neighborhood respected me. They knew I boxed. And I didn't have no problems, coming up.
Mm-hmm. And you said your dad died. Do you want to say how he died or not?
He had a heart attack. He was actually in the corner of one of his fighters, Labo Wilkins. He fought in Atlantic City in '83. He died April 2nd, and he was in the corner at his fight. And one of his fighters had a heart attack and died.
Yeah, man. That's tough, huh? And, let's see. And your dad got you interested in boxing. How old were you when you first went to a gym?
My mother got a picture when I think I was 16 months. I was in the gym. So, boxing was just like everyday life to me. That was just my blood. I was looking to be a boxer. I was in the gym. I go to the gym every day with my father. It was on 6030 University. And it was close to a neighborhood called Hyde Park. It's still one of the best neighborhoods in Chicago, where Muhammad Ali lived. And my father let me go meet Muhammad Ali. And after that, we used to go over his house. He used to come to the gym. I just spent a lot of time with him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool, man. And you had a great amateur career. You were like 36-5. You won the '92 U.S. Amateur Light Heavyweight title.
No, that's wrong. I was 30-3.
30-3?
Only lost to Jeremy Williams, and I lost to Dragon Forsamai. But the two fights with Jeremy Williams was very. I thought I won both fights. We fought 4 times. I thought I beat him all 4 times, but that ain't how the judges saw it. And, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. And
I had 3 losses.
Yeah, you beat John Ruiz, right? What do you remember about John Ruiz?
Beat John Ruiz. I beat Jeremy Williams twice, who was one of the greatest amateurs in boxing history. I beat John Ruiz.
What do you remember
about
John?
And I beat Terry McGrone. John was kind of different. John didn't fight the way he fought in the pros. John actually could box.
Mm-hmm.
When he was an amateur. I don't know why he ended up fighting the way he did as a pro. Not taking nothing away from him because he had a great career or whatever. But he didn't fight like he did as a pro as he did in amateur.
So he didn't hug a lot? He was a good fighter.
Pardon?
He didn't hug a lot in the amateurs?
He could box. I don't know why he ended up changing his style or whatever. I respect him. He had a great career. He beat one of my idols, is Ben Holyfield. Mm-hmm. He had a different type of style that kind of nasty, but it worked for him.
Mm-hmm. then you came to Worcester, Massachusetts for the Olympic trials, and you got outpointed. You think you beat Jeremy all 4 times, you said?
I know I beat him. There's no way in hell I lost that fight. I mean, I remember Timmy Austin, the great bantamweight champion and bronze medalist, before that the fight with Jeremy asked him at the fight, did he think he won? And Timmy told him, like, shit, do you think you won? And everybody knew I didn't. Everybody know that man did not beat me, but it is what it is. He was a big name in boxing. I came out of nowhere. And, I did what I did, but, it ended up turning out for me. It turned out okay for me.
Yeah. And then you outpointed him twice at the box off, so.
Yeah, I mean, I just tell like this. I beat him the last 2 fights for the box off and I beat him 2 fights to win the box office. Mm-hmm. The first time I fought him, I beat him worse than I beat him any of the other 2 times, and I didn't get the decision. So the boxing is just crazy. I destroyed him the first time we fought. He sat down and told me that I beat him. Mm. But the last 2 fights when I got the decision, I didn't beat him as good as I did the first time I fought him, but it is what it is.
Yeah. How'd you feel when you made it to the Olympics?
I mean, it was the greatest. It was like a dream to me. I mean, you gotta understand one thing. I was a kid who stopped boxing at 12 years old. I took off for 8 years. I came back a year before the Olympics with only 30 amateur fights, and I made the Olympic team. So it was the greatest experience I've ever been through in my life at that time.
Yeah, you won your first 2 fights there, and then you got outpointed by Torsten Mai. How'd you feel?
Yeah, that's what they say. I got bullshit on national television. I hit the man with a left hand over his jab because he was a southpaw and busted out. He was bleeding like a pig. And during the amateur fight, do you know that they let continuous once a guy's bleeding?
I know. That's crazy, right?
So, they stole my gold medal from me. So it is what it is.
How'd you feel when you left with no medal? You felt robbed, right?
I felt, man, I didn't even stay to the end of the Olympics. As soon as I left the next day, I flew back to Chicago. That's how sick I was. Yeah. Because, that was just a dream of mine. I remember the first fight I remember watching with my father, the 76 Olympics, watching Ray Leonard win his gold medal. And, that's all I thought about. I never even thought about turning pro or being a world champion. All I thought about was the gold medal. And them to take it from me, it was just heartbreaking.
Did you know you were going to turn pro right away?
Yeah, I mean, I knew, I can't say right away because I waited. A lot of guys turned pro before me, had they fighting before me. I waited around to, 93 before I even started fighting. I just took some time off. I was so hurt from the Olympics, I just took some time off, got my hair back straight, and that thing,
And then, did you turn pro and have Eddie Futch in your corner right away?
No, I think I had 7 fights before I started with Eddie Futch.
Did you have one trainer before that, or did you just travel around trying to see who?
I just worked with my brother. I worked with my brother, and the guy here in Chicago, the older guy who had been around for a long time, D.D. Armour. I worked with my brother, D.D. Armour, and Eddie Davis. And D.D. was getting older and was going to retire. So my trainer, they wanted me to find better trainer, so they found Eddie Futch and Phil Thomas.
Mm-hmm. And who was more hands-on with you, Eddie or Phil?
Eddie was 87 years old when I met him. Mm-hmm. He had Mike McCallum, he had Riddick Bowe, he had Wayne McCullough. So, he didn't really have the time for me. I mean, he tried his best, and I just respected, what he did. I respected, basically, I mean no disrespect, but at that time, you work with the guys who make the most money. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Riddick Bowe and Mike McCallum was making more money than me, so he spent more time with them. Yeah. So it left me with Torrance, who really spent more time with me. I knew where I needed to be.
What'd you learn from Phil?
I learned everything. I mean, the first thing that Eddie Futch and them told me is that they wasn't here trying to change my style. They said I had a style that was different, that was just God-given. They said they weren't trying to change me. They won't let me fight the way I want to fight. They just going just try to tone it up and do it, as good as possible.
Mm-hmm. And then you won your first 14 fights, and you got a shot at comeback in James Toney. He just lost to Roy, and
One more time.
You won your first 14 fights, then you got the shot at James Toney.
The crazy thing about it was I fought in LA for the Budweiser forum title. I beat Ray Lathan, who was one of the greatest amateurs. I beat him. He was undefeated 14 over 13 knockouts. And I think I had 13 fights or whatever. And I beat him. And the funny thing about it was I went to a fight when James Toney fought Will Jones. And Jackie Calvin actually would go upstairs and say hi to James because, I met James Toney. I stayed at his house. He was going to be my manager. But we sparred. And after we sparred, I was an Olympian. I was an amateur. He was a two-time world champ. And I said, shit, I'm just as good as he is right now. I said, I don't know if I want him to be my manager. And, the money that they offered me wasn't what I wanted. I just went back home. So when I saw Jackie, she was happy to see me. She was like, why don't you come upstairs and say hi to James? And I was like, well, I really don't want to. She was like, he'd love to see you. And as soon as we got in the room, she said, look, James, guess who wanted to come say hi to you? And I'm like, that wasn't how it was. I didn't want to come up here. And he acted real dry with me and everything. So I just didn't understand that. And as soon I was Skipper Kelp, a former welterweight contender. I was Skipper Kelp, man. As soon as they called me after Will Jones fight James, Skip's first thing Skip told me was, I bet you that they knew that day that they wanted to fight you. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't no big deal. So I had 14 fights. Any first and third points actually didn't want me to take the fight. They thought maybe I wasn't ready yet, but my manager just asked me. He said, he sat me down. He said, can you beat this man? And I said, yeah, I can beat him. I know I can. He said, well, we're going to take the fight. And, it was a good fight, 12 rounds, a close fight. Like I said, I can't really say, I was a better fighter than him at that time. I just basically out-hustled him.
Mm-hmm. That's honest, man. Really. That was crazy impressive. I loved when he caught you with that right hand and you stayed up, I thought you were going down.
Eddie first, it was my fault. I didn't listen. What happened was, the first 2 rounds of the fight was basically, the fight was going easier than I had anticipated. And I got a little lazy. Eddie told me, because James Toney was a great right-hand counterpuncher, he told me to not throw a right hand without come back with left foot, and I did it. And he called me, so, I got taught, I learned a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the best thing about it was I didn't go down. And it really didn't end up making a difference anyway because later on in the fight, I caught him with a shot. He fell into the ropes just like Roy Jones, but they didn't clearly with a knockdown. So it really, it really didn't make a difference.
Now, were you nervous before that fight?
Never. I've never been nervous for a fight in my life. Mm-hmm. That's why I got the nickname of Ice. I've been in the gym since I was 2 years old. I never had it. It's in my blood.
Yeah. And then the rematch was almost 2 years later, and I forgot that. Say it again.
Yeah, it was actually a year later, but it was basically 2 years because I think the first time we fought in February, the second time we fought in December next year. So it was basically like 2 years, and I just knew on my experience, my skill level after the first fight, I knew I could beat him. Yeah.
How did James see you for the build-up? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
See, with James, I knew because I stayed at his house. We were, I didn't say we were friends, but we were cordial with each other. I knew that he couldn't really try to talk garbage to me or try to punk me or try to intimidate me. But we were friends. So, the second fight, he promised me. He promised that he was ready. There would be no excuses. So I was like, okay, and we ended up getting into it at the press conference. But basically, not because of him, because of me. They asked us to stand up and get up, and take a, stare down and how to take pictures. And I didn't want to, blink or look away or whatever. So I just started talking garbage to him, and he didn't like it, so he pushed me. So I walked up to him in his mouth. So I mean, that was basically it is what it was. I wasn't really worried about James Toney.
Mm-hmm. And what fight did he give you a harder time in? Was it the second fight or first fight?
Well, the first fight, the second fight, I mean, I still to this day I don't understand. I know some other James Toney fans out here, but I'm just saying controversial. I didn't win. I don't understand it. I dominated that man in the second fight. He didn't hit me with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I basically played with him. So, these guys watch fights and listen to the HBO commentary who James Toney's an HBO fighter, so of course they're on his side. So I just tell people watch the fight with the volume down.
I did that. I really did that.
Watch the fight with the volume down, and it's a whole different fight.
That's true. I was a big James Toney fan at the time too, so I didn't like that you beat him, but I did watch the fight, and you could clearly see you had an easy time with him. It's strange how the HBO commentators do that. They don't do that as much anymore as they do.
Yeah, because I think people got tired of that, man. What they do is they hypnotize you into believing that you see what they're saying.
And that's true. Now, when you got the fight, how did the fight with Roy come up?
Basically, really, Roy was supposed to fight James.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess they was just looking past me. And he was going to give James a second chance. And after I beat him, he had nowhere else to go. So they moved me to number one, and I got the mandatory.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel like you were going to beat Roy that night? Confident, totally?
Yeah, I mean, I've never been nervous or scared a day of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Boxing is in my blood. I mean, when Joe was a great fighter, I mean, who cares? My father had a saying that I remember when I was a kid. He told people, who was scared or nervous, whatever. He said, when that man put his pants on just like you.
Mm-hmm.
And I always remember that. I mean, I never was worried about his words, I mean, I always kind of questioned that maybe he was on steroids or whatever, but, I really wasn't worried about it. I went to the fight. I knew, to this day, I know Roy Jones was faster than me, but I knew I could match his speed.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Roy, he want to fight when he want to fight, and if you take the pressure to him, he don't like that, and we just had a good game plan for him. Going to the ninth round, I thought I was winning the fight. They gave him a knockdown that I don't think he shouldn't have got credit for. He lagged with me. He threw a punch, but he lagged with me. So when I fell, I guess the referee thought he hit me. But Roy knew he didn't hit me because if you hit a guy and knock him down, you think you got him hurt. Roy didn't even jump on me because he knew he didn't hit me.
Mm-hmm.
So he got credit for a knockdown. If he didn't get credit for the knockdown, I won on every scorecard. So it is what it is. I got lazy in the ninth round, and I tried to roll with the right hand instead of blocking it, and got hit in the back of the head and just got a little dizzy. And I just told myself, I said, look, you win in the fight. Just take a knee, and then we got to win 10, 11, 12 to go out, and win the title. So that's why I took a knee. And he had Roy rage. He was steroid. He failed a steroid test. He had Roy rage, and Roy rage. He walked up to me and hit me.
And
that's real.
Now, when you were preparing for that fight, did Eddie Futch have a more hands-on role in that fight, or did?
I mean, Eddie, put the game plan together. Like I said, because of Eddie's age, they'll always put more time with me.
Mm-hmm. So he didn't change and give you more time because you were fighting Roy? Because I know he was. I
mean, basically, the one good thing about both of those guys is they on the same page as far as their training and teaching, but they never really bump heads with each other.
Mm-hmm. And so Eddie came up with the plan to beat Roy, because I know he came up with the plans to beat Ali 2 times. Kenny Norton.
Right. Well, yeah, we always talk about that. I mean, I was Ali saying Ken Lund, Joe Frazier fan, so we always got into it.
Mm-hmm.
And, he used to always say, I beat Ali twice. I said, okay. I said, he had a football player that fought Ali. We lost to him. He had Joe Frazier and Ken Lund that fought Ali. I said, okay. One thing I give you credit for, you beat Ali twice. I said, but your record is 2-7. I said, that's not no good record.
Well.
So we just always, we just sit around and laugh. I said, 2-7 is not a good record. And we just, we just sat around and laugh.
I'm glad he could take that, man. A lot of people wouldn't even want to hear that shit.
I was pretty much the only guy in the gym that stood up there and he pushed, you know what I'm saying? Everybody else kind of just, kicked his ass and, just went, with everything he said. I mean, not saying I was disrespectful, but I just spoke my mind. I always been that type of guy. I don't care who I'm talking to. I say what's on my mind, and I'll bite my tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And, like I said, I grew up with my Ali. He was a Joe Frazier fan, so we just, we always used to butt heads on that.
Mm-hmm. Were you mad that you weren't given a chance to beat Ray in that fight?
Pardon?
Were you mad that people thought you were just going to go in there and get beat like everybody else did against Ray?
Nah, I really could care less. I think I was $7,100. I made $25,000 on myself, so no, I wasn't mad.
Hmm. And I swear, I would always tell people the way you got to be Roy Jones, and you were the only person who ever did that to Roy. As soon as that fight started, you could say
There's no question. Tava knocked him out. Dwayne Johnson beat him. Lost all these fights later on in his career, but I beat him when he was at his peak, at his best.
And that's it. And he was totally frustrated by that. You could tell. He only did that because he was frustrated and he was losing. People thought he...
No question. He apologized to me 10 times. Right. Every time I saw him, he apologized to me for years. He was wrong.
That's cool.
It was roid rage. Just like when Roger Clemens threw that bat at Mike Piazza, he didn't have no control of that. The roids took over. The roid hit me when I was on my knee. The roids took over. He didn't have no control of that.
What did you think of his speed when you were in the ring?
Fastest man I've ever been in the ring in my life. I sparred Floyd Mayweather when he was about 135. I was about 180. And his speed couldn't match Roy Jones' speed. It wasn't no comparison. And so Roy, Floyd couldn't hit me with nothing. I couldn't hit him either, I'm not going to lie. We couldn't hit each other, but Roy, the speed was on that level.
And, let's see, you answered some questions already. Let's see. You answered everything, man. How surprised were you when he did hit you when you went down? Did you know what was happening, or were you... I
was very surprised. Well, what happened was, when I took the knee, I looked at the referee for him to start the count. I didn't even see Roy. So when he walked into the hit me the first time, I looked at the ref to complain, and he loaded up the second time, so I didn't see that. So I'm just glad, thank God, that I didn't get killed, I didn't die. I thank God that I didn't lose consciousness. He hit me and he hurt me. When I fell and hit the ground, and you got these dumbass people that said I was faking, I just could never believe that. But when my head hit the floor, it hit the floor hard too because I had a scar on my forehead. But I just heard the referee count. But I couldn't move. It was like I knew everything that was going on, but it was like I was paralyzed, like I didn't have no control of my body. So when I heard the referee count, I said, I can't believe it. It's going to count me out. So when I got up and finally tried to get together, I told my brother. And he said, no, don't worry about it. Like, I think they're going to disqualify him. So, he did the right thing. He disqualified him. So, to this day, I never was happy about that. I never wanted to win a fight on, disqualification. I actually, the next night, when I fight, the WA had the convention in Atlantic City, and I went to it, and I was, kind of, uncomfortable. I didn't really know how people were going to react towards me. And every great fighter walked up to me and said, man, you won that fight. Don't worry about nothing. So that made me feel a bit better.
Yeah. And how did it feel to hear Michael Buffer say, and new? How's that feel?
Like I said, I didn't want it that way. It was cool, but, like to this day, I'm more happy with the second James Tony fight as I am with the Roy Jones fight. I mean, I know I was WC world champion, but like I said, I never wanted it that way, so it never was a big deal to me.
Mm-hmm. And the rematch was already made as soon as you beat him.
No, with the WC, of course, in the fight, which, if I would have, knew what I know now, and, I would have handled things a little bit more differently. I would have just said, fuck it, just gave up the title and fought somebody else. But it is what it is. I mean, WC forces. I actually just talked about it today. I was looking at Monty Lawrence and Tommy Hearns one day. I told my wife that me and Tommy was supposed to fight. One day that fight's supposed to fight Tommy Hearns. And I said, I wish I could have fought Tommy Hearns just to say I fought him and had his name on my record. But they forced me to fight him again. I'm a fighter, so my promoter and my management didn't really look out for me like they should have. So I just, I fought him again. And it was the worst decision I've made in my career. HBO has, invested so much money in Roy. They wanted to make sure he got his title back, so I was forced into the ring. I wasn't able to wear him up. It was just a bad situation, and I lost the fight.
Oh, they rushed you.
They rushed me in the ring, and it just threw my career off track for a few years.
You answered that too. Hold on, next question. How did Roy treat you in the build-up for the second fight? Was he disrespectful?
We didn't talk. We didn't see each other. We didn't show up to the press conference. We didn't talk to each other. We didn't say nothing to each other. HBO was really kind of worried because I had great fans and friends who followed me and supported me. And Roy actually was scared of my friends. Most guys, when you say Chicago, I would think of gangsters and everything. They was actually intimidated and didn't want my friends to be around. So, it was kind of a crazy situation. We didn't even see each other and talk to each other none before the fight.
Did you feel the rest of the media, besides HBO, respected you, or were people still?
I think I've been one of the most underrated fighters in history. I think the reason why in the Olympics I came out of nowhere, so they didn't really know what to expect from me. And then the pros, and you got a 5'7" light heavyweight who will outbox any man in the ring and was short. And, I just think nobody really just took me serious. And I think that's why I never got the respect I deserve.
Yeah. And you came back 3 months after that, and you had a few fights to come back, and then you fought Eric Harding. What do you remember about Eric Harding? You ended up losing the split.
Yeah, he ran like a girl for 12 rounds. I just think that Dan Goose and I swear to fought Derek Harmon, and I got caught cheating on my wife, and in camp the whole time. My wife called and cursed me out the whole night. Every night. My head went into the fight. I wouldn't even think about it. But I knew I could beat Eric. I knew I could beat Derek Harmon. And 3 days before the fight, they called and trained opponents. Derek pulled out. They put Eric Harding in, and Phil Torrance begged me not to fight. He said, look, man, you ain't got to take this fight. He's number 3 in the world. We don't know this guy and everything. And the only reason I took that fight was because I didn't want to go home to face my wife. And I still went there. The man ran like a girl for 12 rounds. And the announcers on TV said I won 9 or 10 rounds. I mean, it just was a terrible decision. They gave it to Eric Harmon. They put him on the scene and he made a name for himself.
Let's see, then you went to Germany. Roy never would go outside the country.
I went to Germany.
How did people treat you?
Everybody treated me well. I mean, it was no problem until I get a ring and I win every round on scorecard of beating the German world champion and American referee Joe Cortez, who's a dirty guy, stopped the fight for no reason. And he's a dirty guy. I don't care if you print this. I hate his ass. He a dirty fucker. I hope it works for him.
I hear you, man. I heard that before, I swear.
That's how I feel about Joe Cortez.
Yeah. So.
And after that fight, after the Roy Jones fight, second Roy Jones fight, the Eric Harden fight, and the Nikashevsky fight, I just said I was going to retire because I was just tired of the bullshit. Mm-hmm. I got fucked out of 3 fights in a row. I just got tired of it.
Mm-hmm. So you didn't think it
was... I took a little time. Okay?
Nah, say it again. I didn't want to cut you off.
I said after those 3 fights, I was just way too done with boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love boxing to death. It's in my blood. I just felt that I never got back from boxing what I put into it. Mm-hmm. And after that, I just said, what the hell, I was tired of it. I came home, opened up a clothing store, found myself ready to retire and everything, but, of course, my heart was still into it, and after a while, I came back.
Mm-hmm. So Mikashevsky didn't surprise you at all with his power?
He had no power. He couldn't punch at all. I was not hurt at all. And then he hit me with 2 punches after the bell had rang. Joe Cortez dead ass came in for no reason.
That sucks, man. Let's see, fought some pretty good, tough fights, and then you had a chance to fight. Let's see, you fought for the 2 belts Roy gave up. You fought Tarver, right in Woods. I went to that fight, actually. I love that fight.
Yeah, I got hit first round. I got hit with a legal punch in the back of the head. Mm-hmm. Nobody said nothing. I fought the other round with a concussion. I had to go, and I was after the fight. I had a concussion. I got hit in the back of the head. Nobody said nothing. I mean, it's some more bullshit I've been through in my career.
So nothing good to say about Tarver? Didn't impress you at all?
No, not at all.
So you
2 guys who I've been in the ring with. Pardon?
No, I was gonna say you were already thinking about retiring anyway. Did you want to be back really, or did you kind of have to come back? Was your heart? You know what I mean?
What was this?
Say it again.
What was this? What was this you said about retiring? Why in the ring?
You said you wanted to get out of boxing after the Mikashevsky fight.
Yeah, I mean, I was, time heals all things, and just sitting around not doing nothing, I missed the game. That's why I came back.
Mm-hmm. So your heart was into it totally when you fought Tarver?
Of course. Like I said, I got hit with a legal punch in the first round, in the back of the head.
Mm-hmm.
And I just shorted out. I still was this with that.
So after that fight, you were still into it, or you kind of got...
Yeah, I mean, I just couldn't believe all the bad breaks. I mean, after you've been through so many bad breaks, you just think things will turn around sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
But, they know,
And then you fought Glenn Johnson. What do you think about that?
I fought Glenn Johnson. I just gotta look. I don't make no excuses. I take away from Glenn Johnson. I tried so hard to win that fight. I trained 10 weeks, and I overtrained and just burned myself out. And I didn't have energy to fight the man for 4 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I make no excuses. But I don't make great fighters. I don't make no excuses. But Tom and Glenn Johnson, 2 guys that after losing to them, I still don't really respect them as being great fighters. I mean, not taking nothing away from them, but I don't look at them as nothing special.
Mm-hmm. And then you took about a year off again. You fought Shumanov, another Olympian. What'd you think of Shumanov?
Nothing. I didn't even have no experience. I had him right where I wanted him. The man was dead tired. The trainer admitted to my brother that he was ready to quit. I was ready to go in there and knock him out, and the man, the head butted me. In front of the referee said nothing. So again, another bad break. I'm not feel about it.
Yeah, it sucks, man. How did you like Kazakhstan? How did those people treat you?
It was actually one of the greatest trips I ever took in my life.
Oh, yeah?
I was so surprised. Yeah, the people were so nice. It was a great trip. I got so much respect. I was surprised because I fought in Moscow in '92, and that's before the breakup, and it was poor and it was terrible. I went the worst trips I ever went to in my life. I go to Kazakhstan. It was one of the best trips I ever had in my life.
See, every time I see Russia, I want to go because the buildings, they look so cool and stuff. So you didn't like Moscow?
Yeah.
Didn't like Moscow?
Moscow was terrible. I told, growing up in Chicago, I mean, before Mayor Daley was the mayor, Chicago was a terrible city. Not terrible, but it had bad neighborhoods. It was dirty, it was nasty. And, after seeing Russia, Moscow, I said, I would never say nothing negative about Chicago again. Mm-hmm. It was 10 times worse.
Yeah. And, so you're 41 now? Are you 41? Or 40?
Yeah, I'll be 42 in June.
And you still fighting now, or you're done?
No, I fought August of last year. I promised my wife that I was going to retire this year. Mm-hmm. I just talked about it here the other night. I trying to fight once or twice. It's for the years. There's no doubt I'll be retired by the end of this year. But I would love to fight maybe 1 or 2 more times. Mm-hmm. I actually just fought an exhibition last night. Felt pretty good, you know what I'm saying? I ain't been to the gym. I ain't do nothing. I ain't trained. I ain't do nothing. I just been running a little bit, fought an exhibition last night, So, a lot better than I thought I was going to feel.
And you're still married to the same lady then? Things got good again?
No, I got remarried, man.
I'm sorry. Things might be better now. You got
kids? Yeah, that was cool. I got a good life, man. Yeah. I got a 18-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 10 and an 8-year-old.
That's good, man. And what's the happiest moment of your career?
Besides my 2 kids being born, my first 2 kids being born, like I said, the happiest moment of my career was making Olympic team in 1 year. I had 30 amateur fights, and I made the Olympic team. And I don't think too many people say they could be at that.
So making the Olympic team was the best moment of your whole life?
The best moment of my career,
yeah. And what do you do outside of boxing? You training anybody? You planning to do anything after?
I do personal training. I really don't really want to get into boxing because it's so dirty and corrupt. I try to stay away from boxing. I don't even watch boxing. I just watch the big fights or whatever. Mm-hmm. Boxing just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. I mean, like I said before, I just never got back from boxing. That what I put into. But like I said, I do train. I'm in the gym about 5 days a week doing personal training. And, I'm a Cook County sheriff in Chicago.
What do you do?
I'm a Cook County sheriff.
You're a sheriff?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that, man. That's great, man.
Yeah, I've been doing it for like 2 years, yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that. And do you ever think about another fight with Roy? He's still out?
I would love to fight Roy. I want to fight Roy so bad. Roy don't want none of me. Roy knows that he was on steroids, and at his best, he couldn't do nothing with me. So he would never want to fight me, especially as bad as career has gotten to now. Mm-hmm. That'd be. I could actually fight Roy Jones one more time and walk away, not think about boxing ever again. If I could get that fight on, out of the way under my belt, I would love to fight that man.
I think you might.
He's the first man that gave me my first loss. Pardon me?
I think you might knock him out.
I mean, whatever happens, I would destroy him without a question. Mm-hmm. I mean, he has failed harder than any great fighter ever in history.
Yeah. And what do you think of Glenn Johnson? He's still out there too.
I fight Glenn too. I went on to fight Glenn. Mm-hmm. And whatever he's been taking over all these years, it's doing something for him.